And we're live. Good to have you here. A lot going on. Pam Bondi taking no prisoners. Absolutely furious at what's going on with Alina Habba. It's all over LaMonica McIver because Alina Habba dared to secure an indictment on LaMonica McIver, who, whoa, we're going to have to go back to that video. You know it. And I'm going to have to say LaMonica all over for you again. Plus, Tulsi's gloves are totally off. She just released some insane intel that Vladimir Putin allegedly had on Hillary Clinton. Page 17 of these documents, well worth seeing. And it begs the question, if Putin really, it's my New Hampshire accent, I say mitten too, mitten. If Putin really wanted to do her in, why didn't that stuff come out? Why did that all get buried? Why didn't he go with that? He's got some good stuff. We're going to get into all these allegations about Hillary Clinton. And I'll tell you, Barack Obama, he's freaking out. He's in total panic mode. He's issuing statements saying, oh, this doesn't change anything. You better believe it changes a whole lot. And media beware. You can't just go after a guy just because you don't like him politically. CBS learned that the hard way, $36 million that they're having to pay to Donald Trump and his library and his lawyers, $36 million, because of what they did with 60 Minutes. And if I were the Wall Street Journal, if I were Rupert Murdoch, if I were Lachlan, I'd be listening right about now. Good to have you guys here. I am in... I was going to say sunny Ireland, but not so sunny. I got the Irish Sea behind me. Hard to see, though. We'll see if we can tweak the shot a little bit tomorrow so I can show you a little bit more of the scenery. But I am here in the southeastern part of Ireland, having traveled from Killarney. Was traveling all day long, but wanted to make sure I was here for this show for you guys because we got big news to talk about, certainly on the Hillary Clinton front, certainly on the Alina Habba front. We've been all over this story with LaMonica, and apparently LaMonica is one of the reasons that Alina Habba is being told to step aside. Bondi's like, hey, not so fast, guys. And in fact, she's effectively telling these guys to go pound sand. You get a bunch of very liberal judges that were appointed by, Biden, that were appointed by Barack Obama, and they have their own motivations, shall we say, and their own motivations seem to be conflicting with what the president would like, and he would like to see Alina Habba in the gig. Alina actually, you know what? She's a good attorney. She's had good support around her. She did the right thing. She tried to give LaMonica an out. LaMonica didn't take it. And now this is the result. I'm sorry. So Bondi's making the point that you guys can't just supersede the authority, if you would, of the President of the United States. And haven't we been through this before? And didn't the Supreme Court already say, no, he gets to have his way on a whole bunch of this stuff? Here's the headline that was in the New York Post. Trump picked Alina Habba booted as New Jersey's top prosecutor. Pam Bondi says not so fast. She said not so fast because they tried to put in somebody else. And she's like, no, I'm not going to approve that other person. And the president is the one who's going to make the decision on that. So tough luck, guys. Okay, so she's immediately going into action. I like seeing this side of Pam. I got to tell you, I really, really do like seeing this side of Pam. And it's important to do right now because you get judges that think they can do anything. This one, District Judge Renee Marie Bum. How's that for a name? In all seriousness, Renee Marie Bum. A bum. You can't forget that, okay? I don't mean to make fun of somebody's name, but you got to admit that's a good one. Renee Marie Bum announced the appointment of one Ms. Grace, a woman named Desiree Grace, who Habba had appointed first assistant to the U.S. attorney shortly after taking office. And Bondi came back and said, nope, we're not going to approve her. Not happening. So this is Ms. Grace, as you see, and nothing against her. She's actually a registered Republican. But it's the fact that these judges are trying to do what these judges are trying to do. Once again, Desiree Lee Grace is her name. She's worked in the system for more than a decade. She began in 2012. She's clerked. She's basically paid her dues. And they're like, okay, we're going to put her in instead of Alina Habba. Now, why would they have done this? Why would they have done this? turns out Jeffries may have had something to do with this, and they just filed an ethics complaint against Hakeem Jeffries just today because, you see, back earlier this month, he actually sent out a post on X saying, quote, Habba is a woefully unqualified political hack who must go. And then he went on to say she must be rejected by the federal district court judges who are considering whether to retain her. So this is now being viewed, if you would, as a kind of pressure campaign that was completely unacceptable because the judges are not supposed to be political, even though they were all appointed by Obama and Biden. And apparently, it looks like they were maybe taking Hakeem Jeffries and what he wanted to heart just a little too much. So this action prompted the U.S. House Ethics Committee filing from a conservative legal group. Mike Davis is part of that Article 3 project, and they're saying this is wrong. This is a corrupt guy who's trying to strong-arm some justices here, and that can't happen. Well, Hakeem Jeffries is totally freaking out over it. He made a big little video for himself that he put out to the public saying, I don't care about this little group. I don't care about them, and I'm going to do this, and I'm going to do that. I'm just telling you guys, it's not okay. All because LaMonica McIver got indicted and faces up to 17 years in prison, which, by the way, she absolutely needed to be indicted for. She wasn't willing to show any remorse whatsoever. The mayor of New Jersey, he even said, okay, maybe I'll show a little remorse here. But they got LaMonica on tape. We're going to show you doing some stuff she really shouldn't have been doing. Here's Hakeem. Listen to him freaking out, panicking, if you would.
This far-right extremist group that I've never heard of filed this ethics complaint right here, alleging that I somehow abused my power by speaking the truth about Donald Trump's so-called U.S. attorney in New Jersey. Let me be clear about my opinions relative to Alina Habba. That's the U.S. attorney right now in New Jersey. She is woefully unqualified and is a political hack. Alina Habba, you are a complete and total disgrace. I don't give a damn about this so-called ethics complaint. It means nothing to me. It is frivolous. It was filed by pettifoggers who perhaps themselves should be disbarred. We will not be intimidated. Get lost.
Hakeem, poor Hakeem. Well, the rap on him is that he basically was trying to intimidate these justices. And because he was trying to intimidate them, as a result of that, he's now looking at an ethics complaint. Guys, let's not forget what went down, shall we? I mean, that fateful day in Newark, New Jersey, outside the Delancey Immigration Detention Center, and you had some of these members of Congress show up, and one in particular, all dressed in bright red, really tried to push her weight around, big time, successfully so. I mean, if you look at this tape, it looks to me as though she really is assaulting people. And Alina gave her a chance. She gave her an out. She said, hey, do you want to cooperate here? Just admit, maybe you shouldn't have done that. You're a member of Congress, for goodness sakes. But LaMonica wouldn't have it. LaMonica stood her ground, went out and fundraised off of the whole thing. She had her best fundraising quarter ever, you see? A method to the madness, chaos, disorderly conduct, and assault. Assault. If you ask me, it's alleged at this point, but let's take a look at the tape, shall we? Yeah. That doesn't look good. I mean, I'm just telling you, they slowed it down, slow motion. Look at her. She's elbowing that officer in front of her. So that really doesn't look good. And what the concern is here is that Alina Habba, because she was doing her job, and by the way, this is what she was brought in to do, was she not? Because she was doing her job to try and restore law and order in New Jersey, she's now the one that's getting kicked out by these justices? I don't think so. This is not going to fly, okay? This is not what it was, the intention. This is not how it was set up to be. Donald Trump saying, you know what? We're going to cut that CRAP out. We're going to have law and order. We're going to actually have members of Congress that don't physically try and assault. Now, I get it. Okay, you want to go in and check. You're free to do that. You can make an appointment, right? That would be a normal thing to do. You don't have a protest where you then physically push your way through a crowd demanding entry into the Delancey Immigration Detention Center. That's kind of bonkers. So Alina did the right thing. And as a result, this woman was facing 17 years in prison. And Hakeem Jeffries went nuts and started pressuring the justices. And the next thing you know, the justices are saying, we're not going to renew her. Pam's like, well, we're not going to allow for the woman that you want in the spot to have the gig. So I don't know where we are right now. We're in some kind of standoff. I guess you don't have a U.S. attorney there. Here's LaMonica trying to put herself up on a giant pedestal with the help of MSNBC, you see, saying how great she is. You know, she's just a young African-American woman and she must be a real threat to Donald Trump and the system. No, lady. You actually seem to be assaulting an ICE officer, okay? Like, it's not that hard. Here she is.
Is there something about you that is so threatening or scary to them?
Not that I thought. I mean, I am a young African-American woman from the city of Newark. I love serving people. I don't find myself to be intimidating or dangerous or any of those things that the Justice Department have been saying about me. You know, it's truly unfortunate to be in this situation, but at the same time, it goes back to the political intimidation about this administration. And because I'm speaking out, because I'm doing my job, I think they want to continue to silence leaders and, you know, stop their critics from, you know, speaking out against them. And so they'll go to any extent, especially any extent of cruelty, to make an example. And I am that example now.
And you say to silence you to the Trump.
No, it's actually not that complicated. It's actually very, very simple. You're the one who allegedly assaulted an ICE officer. You're the one, unlike the mayor of Newark, New Jersey, who refused to take any responsibility or any kind of blame. They wanted you to say, yeah, you know, this was not a good idea to do. And because you refused to do that, she had no choice but to bring charges against you. And you were indicted because of that. LaMonica McIver. I've said this before. LaMonica, as though she's La Regina or something, you know, it's like Italian. La, meaning the. Monica. The Monica. Oh my gosh. Anyway, let me read to you what Pam Bondi said. Habba has been doing a great job in making New Jersey safe again. Nonetheless, politically minded judges refuse to allow her to continue in her position, replacing Alina with the first assistant. That would be one Desiree Lee Grace. Accordingly, the first assistant United States attorney in New Jersey has been removed, okay? Removed. Gone. So great. Now we got nobody in New Jersey? Does Donald Trump have to appoint Alina Habba again? Are we just going to go back and forth here because we got these reckless judges? Or is it going to go all the way up to the Supreme Court? Because if it goes to the Supreme Court, I'm going to tell you what's going to happen. You know what's going to happen. It's happened before. They're going to say he has the authority to do this, and he has the authority to pick his attorneys. Okay? So, guys, you know what? Your bluff is getting called, and it's about time. Okay. Another big story, Hillary Clinton. Oh, I mean, like, we knew she was going, but this one is a doozy. This one is a doozy. Make sure you subscribe, share, like. We're coming up on 1 million subs. It's absolutely incredible. So thank you for all that you guys do. I'm going to get out to some of your comments momentarily, but did you see Putin's dirt that he allegedly has on Hillary Clinton? Tulsi. She's going nuclear. Like, she's totally rogue. This is actually really fascinating. So she now runs DNI, and, you know, she's a former Democrat, incidentally, but she was kind of sick of what they were doing. Don't forget, it was Hillary's camp that tried to go after her, suggesting that this woman who had nearly sacrificed her life, I mean, she was a member of the military, for goodness sakes, they tried to say that she was a Russian spy. I don't think she's forgotten that one. No, she hasn't forgotten that one. So, Hillary. Gosh, this is not good. Page 17, that's what you need to know. Classified, declassified documents, Crossfire Hurricane operation. I read the 114 pages on the plane on the way over from New York to Ireland to Dublin. somebody was snoring near me. This poor woman, she couldn't stop snoring. But the good news is that meant that I read the 114 pages. Well, they have a new release here today. And page 17 is incredibly interesting because there's a few little tidbits in there, guys. They had some alleged intelligence on one Hillary Clinton. Internal claims, we're going to go through it, that Hillary was using heavy tranquilizers, suffering intensified psycho-emotional problems. That's really who you want for your president, right? Then there was evidence of severe health ailments, some things like type 2 diabetes and some heart disease issues. Again, this is all alleged. So this is intel that Vladimir Putin and the Russians had allegedly collected on Hillary Clinton. And the reason this is really, really interesting right now is because none of this stuff came out. So like if they actually wanted to use it because they didn't want her to win and they wanted Donald Trump to win, as they kept telling us over and over again, don't you think that they might kind of leak some of this stuff sort of strategically? Other things that they allegedly found were some internal DNC communications that Obama and others found Hillary's health extraordinarily alarming. There was evidence, allegedly, of secret meetings with religious leaders in which Clinton was offering, quote, significant increases in funding from the State Department in return for their support. Oh, we see how that works. You scratch my back, I scratch yours. Internal Democrat admissions that the European allies were unenthusiastic about a Clinton presidency and thought she was not up to the job as head of state. Those are some doozies. Okay, those are some doozies. As I said, here's page 17. I'm going to try and zoom in on this a little bit so that we can all see it just a bit better. It goes on and on. It was pretty damaging stuff. Unbelievable. Intensified psycho-emotional problems, including uncontrolled fits of anger, aggression, and cheerfulness. Whew, what was that about, Mrs. Clinton? Clinton was placed on a daily regimen of, this is alleged, okay? This is what the Russians had. I'm just saying, like, if the Russians had this, you would think that the Russians would have come forward with this if they really, really, really didn't want Hillary Clinton to win, of heavy tranquilizers. And while afraid of losing, she remained, quote, obsessed with a thirst for power. That's not really surprising. So they compiled all of this. Again, page 17 is well worth your time to read. And I want to just be cautious and, look, it's alleged intelligence that Russia had. But I'm just saying, like, if Putin really and truly did not want Hillary to win, as they alleged, and only wanted Donald Trump to win, then I don't know, like, I think he might have come out with some of this stuff. I think it might have actually surfaced, but maybe that wasn't it at all. Oh, don't tell Hillary.
There is no denying that the Russians interfered in the election. Right. Whether or not they had willing or unwitting help from the Trump team, they interfered. And they did so to help him and hurt me. And they did so to destabilize our democracy. And they have not stopped. There's been enough public testimony before Congress now by very distinguished, experienced intelligence professionals who all say the same thing. This is a clear and present danger to our country. Yeah. And I think it's important, and I would say this. If the roles were reversed, if I had won the Electoral College and I were in the White House and the intelligence services, I've served with them, I've worked with them, I've read their analysis, both on the Senate Armed Services Committee and as Secretary of State. They don't always get it right, but these are patriotic, hardworking, dedicated men and women. And if they had come to me and told me, we believe that this election was interfered with, we believe that it was influenced, and we believe they are still trying to get into our systems, I would have stopped at nothing. I would have stood up and in front of the country said, even if it advantaged me, I am not going to rest until we know exactly what happened and make sure it never happened.
Well, seems that your side did a pretty good job trying to put that little fire out, right? Page 17, they had quite a bit of intel on one Hillary Clinton. And yet somehow the Russians were working for Donald Trump. Like, it doesn't even make sense. So you see, this is why Tulsi is getting really, really annoyed. Of course, she has her own thing going, right? They try to accuse her of being a Russian spy. I think she's kind of over that. Basically, what she determined was that as way back as September 5th, 2016, they knew that actually there was going to be no way for them to actually really and truly influence the actual election. So they knew that. And yet they had a little meeting. They called everyone in together and they decided, okay, we're going to come up with a different story.
Rice and others essentially making a very intentional decision to create this manufactured, politicized piece of intelligence with the objective of subverting the will of the American people who in November of 2016 delivered a historic victory to President Trump, defeating Hillary Clinton. And President Obama and his team, their goal was to essentially not accept the decision of the American people and to use this manufactured, politicized intelligence as a means to enact what would become essentially a years-long coup against President Trump. You have gone into great detail over these years of what the effects of this document and this decision have resulted in. Obviously, a years-long Mueller investigation that cost taxpayers almost $40 million, 2 congressional impeachments, endless smears and attacks against not only President Trump, but his family. He had senior members of his team who were investigated, some arrested and jailed. We had heightened and increased tensions between the United States and Russia. The list goes on and on about the consequences of President Obama and his senior cabinet members politicizing intelligence once again, and I say these words very clearly, to enact what was essentially a years-long coup, subverting the will of the American people in that election in November. Now, you referenced this this president's daily brief document.
This is, I think, just a scandal that is not going to go away, frankly, for the Democrats, and one that we need to stay all over. All over. I mean, if nothing else, for the sake of history, because they have manipulated it to a point where, even Obama is still coming out and saying certain things. I think he's freaking out. I think Obama actually knows that he's in real trouble here. And at least members of his team are in real trouble. Here's his response. I want you to hear.
So breaking just moments ago, former President Obama's office responding after Director of National Intelligence Tulsi Gabbard accused his administration of using, quote, manufactured intelligence about President Trump and Russia. Gabbard sending a referral to the Justice Department and calling for, quote, accountability. President Obama's office saying, quote, nothing in the document issued last week undercuts the widely accepted conclusion that Russia worked to influence the 2016 presidential election, but did not successfully manipulate any votes. These findings were affirmed in 2020 in the report by the Bipartisan Senate Intelligence Committee, led by then Chairman Marco Rubio. That report.
I'm sorry. You can keep telling yourself that. Barack Obama, John Brennan, McCabe, the rest of you, Comey. I'm sorry, but what you actually did is unforgivable, because we still got the tape. And I'm going to play it right now. This is unforgettable. What you tried to lead media organizations and the American public to believe, you knew was false. You knew was wrong. And yet you did it anyway. I mean, this is scumbag stuff. We always knew the intel business was a bunch of scummy you-know-whats, but proven everything that you thought about that industry to be correct, and then some. Watch.
Trump didn't actually win the election in 2016. He lost the election, and he was put into office because the Russians interfered.
Trump knows he's an illegitimate president.
The president-elect, although legally elected, is not legitimate.
I don't see this president-elect as a legitimate president.
You said you believe that Russia's interference altered the outcome of the election.
I do. We have a president who, if in fact it is proven, has been assisted by the Russians and may in fact not be a legitimate president.
The one thing that Trump
is fearful of when it comes to his being president is that finally we will see how illegitimate his victory actually was.
I have an objection.
I object to the 15 votes from the state of North Carolina. I object because people are horrified.
He's an illegitimate president.
Do you believe Trump is a legitimate president?
What I believe is that there's no question that the outcome of this election was affected by the Russian interference.
There absolutely is a cloud of illegitimacy.
So that legitimacy is in question, yes.
So that was a very tainted election.
It goes on. There's like 10 minutes of that. And now I just refer you back to page 17. Page 17, when they were talking about Hillary Clinton and all the dirt that Putin had on her, including how she was suffering from these psycho-emotional problems. I mean, you couldn't talk about that way back when. No. Even though there were some videos that might have suggested as much, right? Like this.
Senator Warren. Did you talk about vice presidential possibilities with Senator Warren?
You guys have got to try the cold chai.
I've had it.
It is delicious, isn't it?
Okay.
There is no denying that the Russians interfered in the election.
Right.
Whether or not they had...
Sorry, Hillary. They definitely weren't interfering in any way that actually hurt you. I mean, you may think that, and you can keep telling yourself that, but if they had really wanted to take the gloves off like Tulsi just did, I think we would have seen a whole lot more videos like the one I just showed you, coupled with real concerns about her, quote, intensified psycho-emotional problems, including uncontrolled fits of anger, aggression, and also cheerfulness. And so much so that she had to be put on a daily regimen, allegedly, of heavy tranquilizers. I mean, this is wild, okay? Absolutely wild. And so I'm telling you, the gloves are off. And now I don't think Obama and his team really know what to do. I mean, she's just declassified it all. Tulsi is taking no prisoners. Obama's trying to say, it doesn't change anything. But, I think there could be some charges. She was asked this directly, and then the president was asked. I'll show you what he had to say, but first, hear Tulsi out.
So as voters, can we feel confident that we will actually see charges, do you think, out of this?
I'm not a lawyer. We're referring all of this to the Department of Justice. I know that Attorney General Pam Bondi is committed to bringing about justice to those who have broken the law. And in this case, again, what these documents detail, to me, in my view, cannot be explained as anything but a treasonous conspiracy. This is not so different from what we saw under George W. Bush, when we saw that manufactured intelligence claiming there were weapons of mass destruction in Iraq that kicked off a war that changed our country, that changed the lives of so many people like myself who went and served in those wars. The implications of manufactured intelligence are real. I would even say that what we are seeing here has an even greater impact than what we've seen in the past, because it speaks again to the foundation of our Constitution and our democratic republic, which is why accountability is so critical.
Indeed it is. Donald Trump would agree.
What specific figures in the Obama administration?
Well, based on what I read, and I read pretty much what you read, it would be President Obama. He started it. And Biden was there with him. And Comey was there. And Clapper, the whole group was there. Brennan, they were all there in a room. Right here. This was the room.
Yeah, that was the room. We saw the list of everybody that was in there. So, he's done with them. He knows exactly what they were up to. They concocted this. And I'm telling you, I know it was nearly 10 years ago. But this is important that we set the record straight on this for a variety of reasons so that this doesn't happen again. And he, like Tulsi, wants people to pay. Listen, he's asked directly, who's responsible? Hear his answer.
If you look at those papers, they have them stone cold, and it was President Obama. It wasn't lots of people all over the place. It was them too. But the leader of the gang was President Obama, Barack Hussein Obama. Have you heard of him? And except for the fact that he gets shielded by the press for his entire life, that's the one they... Look, he's guilty. It's not a question, I like to say, let's give it time. It's there. He's guilty. This was treason. This was every word you can think of. They tried to steal the election. They tried to obfuscate the election. They did things that nobody's ever even imagined, even in other countries.
And it's all coming out. So if I were Brennan, if I were Comey, if I were McCabe, if I were Clapper, if I were Obama, if I were Hillary, I'd be pretty worried right about now. I mean, look what just came out on Hillary. Meanwhile, we're getting word at this hour that there's going to be more coming on the Epstein files. Maxwell is expected to testify. That news just coming to us moments ago. This would be Epstein's significant other and business partner, if you want to call her that, apparently is going to be testifying. Well, this should be interesting, before Congress. And James Comer has issued a subpoena to Maxwell for a deposition to occur at the Federal Correctional Institution in Tallahassee on August 11th, 2025. The Department of Justice is cooperating and will help to facilitate this specific deposition. So I told you before that Donald Trump was getting pretty darn sick of what he considered dirty tricks as far as this whole Epstein thing goes. And there, of course, has been an effort for whatever reason to keep so much of this under wraps. And he's finally just said, you know what, to HELL with it. You guys have at it. Yeah, I'm ready, willing, and able to confront anything and everything that's in there. It was interesting because actually some judges once again today refused to actually have some of these documents unsealed. And this goes hand in hand with what Dershowitz was saying, right? Dershowitz all along was saying, hey, wait a second, there's a lot of information there, but none of it's being put forward because these judges actually don't want it coming out. And so that kind of gels, if you would, Dershowitz, what he said, it gels with what we saw earlier today, where they said they were not going to be releasing any of these particular documents that they had with these files. I want to show you Dershowitz's comments on this that he made on News Nation recently. Kind of sums it up. Here we go.
Is the government hiding a client list or anything that the Trump administration could release tonight?
No, there is no client list. There never has been a client list. A client list suggests that Jeffrey Epstein made a list of people to whom he trafficked women. What there is a redacted FBI affidavit from accusers. There are several of them. From accusers that accuse Jeffrey, that accuse various people of having improper sex. And that has been redacted. The names of the people accused have been blacked out. Now, of course, because I was the lawyer and I did only investigations, I know who all these people are. I could figure out, based on everything that I saw, who Mr. X is, Mr. Y is, and Mr. Z. I can tell you right now, none of them are public figures who are currently in office. Some of them were previously in office. Some of them are dead. But there is no client list. And the redactions could be undone if you go to court. So many of the things that are being suppressed by two judges in Manhattan. And they're doing it largely to protect the alleged accusers who are, in the view of the judges, victims, even though we don't know what their actual status is. But the judges have issued orders, which is why I can't disclose things I'd love to disclose, saying that you can't disclose this information. But Pam Bondi and the Justice Department and Donald Trump are not responsible for that. I don't know of any information that they could disclose that they haven't disclosed. Now, maybe there is some, but I'm simply not aware of it. And so I think it's important to place the blame where the blame deserves to be placed. The vast majority of people who are in the files, and I know them all, I've seen all the names, the vast majority of them have already been disclosed. They're in articles all over the world, they're in books that have been written. So if we got everything, you would be shocked how few names are there that haven't already been disclosed. The media hasn't, by the way, done a good enough job in finding the people who have been disclosed in the public record. So that's that list.
Wow. Okay. So it's going to happen. She's going to testify again. Comer announcing that date is going to happen on August 11th. So right around the corner, guys. And that'll obviously be fascinating and interesting. And we'll see if she makes it alive till then. It's a terrible thing to say, but given some of the conspiracy theories out there, it is worth mentioning at this moment. I can tell you there are a lot of people that are very happy about this because they've really been asking for this. Tim Burchett out of Tennessee is one, and I want to show you his immediate reaction to hearing that she has agreed to testify, and Comer saying they are putting this forward. They want her there August 11th. She'll testify from the correctional facility. Here is the congressman from Tennessee. Watch.
Hey everybody, Tim Burchett, just leading oversight subcommittee, government operations. Hey brother, asked some questions to about the GAO, their bid process, but the important thing was that I did a motion to direct the chairman of the full committee to authorize and issue a subpoena for Ghislaine Maxwell to appear before a deposition, and that's it right there. I had it printed out, so I made sure I do it appropriate. Talked to Chairman Comer. He's down with it. We're good. I believe he's going to issue the subpoena. He's a stand-up guy. We just got to get to the bottom of this thing, folks. It's just, it's 4 years, and we don't need to tolerate this stuff anymore. And I get the blowback about folks up here are going to be mad at me, but ultimately, and with all sincerity, excuse me, I'm answering my creator on this issue and what we did about the least amongst us. And we got to send a message to these dirtbags that do this. This is not acceptable behavior. And also a message to the victims that we believe you and that you need to come out of the shadows, and we need to bust these people that do this and send them to hell. Because I'm over it. Anyway,
he's pretty happy right now, so we should theoretically get more information. A lot coming forward, right? We're learning that not everything is as it seems. Maxwell to testify. Maybe I can learn to say her name. Maxwell to testify August 11th, 2025. And the question is she going to name names? A lot of the Democrats were trying to make this a really big deal, right? Because of Donald Trump, and because it seemed as though he was trying to put this to bed. I have some thoughts on that, some speculation, if in fact it was a real intel op. There are some things that maybe a lot of people don't really want to come out. But as you heard Dershowitz say, he's seen a lot of the documentation. There's actually no politician in office right now, he said, which you have to infer. That would probably mean Donald Trump, that is part of this or tied up in this in any way. But for whatever reason, somebody's trying to protect somebody, and those days are over. It's gone. I mean, look, Hillary just got called out for her, what did they say? Oh, I got to get this one right. Hillary's psychodramatic, tranquilizers to deal with her ups and downs in her emotional disturbances. And page 17, I'm telling you, listen, it's a whole new team, and they are playing to win. Right? For the long haul. And you know what? They're winning. I mean, I'm looking at what's going on right now. They got that $38 million win. Did they not? Guys, the $38 million out of CBS, don't forget, that was expected to be somewhere around 20, but it turns out to have been a whole lot more. Plus, Colbert's gone, although that didn't have anything to do with the deal. They'd like you to think it did, but it didn't. Anyway, if I were Rupert Murdoch, I might be paying attention to the $36 million a little bit right now because he just ran a hit job on the president the other day related to the Epstein stuff. And the president is now suing him. And it's like, oh my gosh, what is the president doing? A president can't sue a news organization. But, if you're libeling someone the way it's suggested Donald Trump may have been libeled by the Wall Street Journal, then you better believe, you know what? He's a person like any other, right? So Wall Street Journal is on notice right now, but we got lots of good stuff going on, plenty of good stuff going on. You look at the markets today, we got a trade deal with Japan. How do you like that? That's a good one. This is worth a lot. Everybody's excited about it, including the Virginia governor, who actually benefited specifically because of some of the agreements that were put in place for his state. Let's listen in.
This is a giant trade deal that we've all been waiting for, knew was in the works. And let me tell you, $550 billion of increased opportunity for Virginia companies, for American companies, but investment in the United States that will come with it as well. I am particularly pleased to see this commitment to buy American products, to reduce trade barriers. And let me just tell you, agriculture is a big part of this deal, and Virginia's largest private industry is agriculture. We expect to see our defense companies benefit from this, pharmaceutical investment coming into the United States, semiconductor investment coming into the United States, supply chains for advanced manufacturing coming to the United States. This is exactly what President Trump's trade strategy has been all about. And I'll tell you,
it's all good. Okay, it's all good. Glenn Youngkin's happy. I'm happy. The market's happy. Did you see the market up again today? I hope that you have gotten my 76 research. This is my own company that I started with a very dear friend to kind of just help you guys, because I know it's tricky. I know it's complicated trying to invest. So let us help you however we can. It's just $1 a month, for goodness sakes, for the first 2 months. Then it goes to $9.95. But hopefully you're going to make a lot of money if you listen to us and you take our advice. We also have model portfolios for you, 3 different ones: inflation protection, American resilience, income builder. I'm a big believer in what we call compound interest, okay? I was joking with you guys. My son the other day said to me, because he's got a little trading account, and he puts a little allowance money in there, and he's like, Mom, I'm way up. I think we need to take some money off the table. And I was like, honey bunny, you're 12. Forget about it. You're there for the long time, for a very long time. And there's a lot of benefit in that. If you're younger, you have time on your side. If you're older, you might want to look at things like the income builder, right? Because you want to retire one day, don't you? I hope you do. Listen, it's great to have you guys all here. I am in Ireland, where my ancestors are from. And it's great to be here. I actually have a story I'm reporting on from Ireland. I'll give you a little bit more on that tomorrow, but it's worth, I'll give you this for a tease. If you could link Letitia James and Ireland together, it might be a stretch, but this one actually is going there. There's some stuff on Letitia that we're going to have to get into tomorrow. Possible cover-ups, allegedly, of some money that may have been moved, $9.4 billion to Iran, and she knew about it and allegedly didn't do anything. Again, there's a lot of allegations. I'm reporting some of this out, and it actually connects to Ireland as well, because there's some crazy stuff going on in the Irish Sea right behind me with people avoiding sanctions. Yeah. Like oil, natural gas going to India from Russia. We're going to talk about all of that tomorrow. But I just wanted to say hello. We got a lot going on. Alina Habba, clearly big story there with Pam Bondi fighting fire with fire. And of course, this unbelievable stuff on Clinton. And now word that, Maxwell's going to be testifying. I mean, what a day, what a day, what a day. Good to see you guys all here. So many familiar faces and some new ones. Aunt Gandhi, great to have you here. Mike Costa as well. No, I have not, guys, seen Rosie O'Donnell. That's a good thing. Hopefully, I really don't. I don't want to see her. Trust me, I don't want to see her. But if I do, I may have a few things to say. It is a small country after all. Great to have you here. I'll be back live again tomorrow. I will see you then. Thank you for all you do. Subscribe, share, like, make a comment, and we'll talk live tomorrow.